extremely meticulous habits, time, punctuality, so many things. So हम लोग आपस में बात किया करते थे, मैं और हमारे पुरी साहब, हम लोग आपस में इकट्ठे मिलते थे इनसे. उस समय पुरी साहब is unfortunately no more. And then after meeting him, when we are driving back, so we will say, यार ये बंदा बहुत ही आगे जाने वाला है, बहुत ही committed आदमी है. पंकज जी आपको अपनी उस समय की बात बता रहा हूँ. And then he was not shy of shifting from one place to another. You see, at that time, मैं 1 या 2 मिनट लूंगा आप लोगों के इनके बारे में बताने के लिए. मेरा बड़ा
No problem.
हाँ, मेरा बड़ा दिल खुश होगा इनके बारे में बता के. You see, that was the time, I am talking of the time 90s, when people were more worried that you should have a stable job, basically. Right? People were putting in कि okay, सरकारी नौकरी हो गई यार, बड़ा अच्छा हो गया. Parents will also talk on those lines. This man was not shy of shifting if he finds that it is bringing professional growth to his mind. And not from a small job to a big, no. He was having a deanship in Symbiosis. Symbiosis, you know what type of management school is that? Basically, people really die to enter that. He was heading that school, and then he felt, no, I have done sufficiently over here, my own growth and my professional growth, and then he shifted. So what I am trying to say, my fellow listeners over here, our fellow professionals, that these things needs to be imbibed from him, that whatever level he has reached today, जो आपने बताया वो ब्राइटन का या जो यूएसए का या वो सारी चीजें, I'm sure the list is much longer than him. When we will hear him, we will all understand that with what lucidity and with what understanding he explains the subject. He is one of the masters in this area, basically. And it is a real treat, Pankaj ji, that you have really spared some time for us, for your own fellow colleagues and for your fellow professional members to enlighten us with these thoughts. I honestly am nobody to moderate you in that way. I will be an ardent listener for you. And Sankalp and Pawan, thanks a lot for organizing this program for benefit of all over. मैं एक बात और बताऊं छोटी सी आप लोगों को, ये आज वाला तो I think it will be just introducing to the tip of the iceberg. It's a very elaborate subject, and I'm sure that Pankaj ji may find little time कभी बाद में, तो ताकि जिससे कि हमारे जो जिज्ञासु लोग हैं वो आपसे और बातचीत कर पाएं. We were to be joined by our very good friend Manoj Kulsheshtra ji. I am sure कुछ हुआ होगा, नहीं तो he was actually looking forward to join this program. अच्छा join कर लिया. Manoj ji, welcome.
Sir,
and
good afternoon.
Manoj ji, how are you?
Fine.
And maybe we now listen to Pankaj ji and then Manoj ji can chip in. या कैसे आप लोगों का schedule है, Ruby?
Sir, दोनों लोग कर सकते हैं साथ में.
Basically, sir, जो program schedule है वो ये है. First, a speech by Dr. Pankaj Gupta ji.
Dr. Pankaj
And
Gupta.
then we as a panelist will basically deliberate on the topic. And if there are any questions from the members,
questions then ठीक है. तो then over to Dr. Pankaj Gupta, and I will like to give him applause. Welcome.
अरे sir.
Welcome.
I'm so.
Doctor साहब आपके पास mic.
Sir, namaskar. I do not know how to respond to this such a very warm welcome, and आपने जो बिल्कुल दिल से बात कही, sir, I'm so touched and so honored, and I'm very grateful to the profession and also with all of you. Because of you only I exist, and so I'm very, very grateful. And sir, I remember that when I was a student in Lucknow, how he used to send us those the handwritten postcards to us. अब तो postcard कोई जानता ही नहीं है, nobody knows, but your personal touch and your dynamism, have always inspired us so much. So I feel very, very honored that I'm in the middle of so many galaxies over here. Manoj Saab also is very well known to me. Sankalp ji is our shining star. I could also see that हमारे profession के एक बहुत बड़े star हैं, A N Raman साहब. He was also here. So I have a lot of great regard for him. And in fact, my guru and Raman Sahab's guru is common. It was a Kashi Ramanathan, and with whom I went and studied in the University of Washington in Seattle. So I have great regard for Raman Sahab. So he is the real expert. I'm just a, you can say a professor. But whatever little I know, I'd be happy to share today. And since, as per my discussion with Manoj ji and Sankalp ji, the idea was that we shall be starting this series, and then we can take on detailed topics like how to apply and implement and how to harness the value from the ABC in, say, healthcare industry. Then we can take about the education industry. Then we take use how we can relate EVA and ABC together, how we can use the blockchain and AI while we talk about the decision making and decision support system, and like that. So today the mandate which was given to me was more of एक होता ना opening batsman की तरह ये शुरू करना है, and after that we have to do a lot of such kind of professional enrichment series. And similarly, I know I can see Manoj Saab also. He is also a great expert. तो मेरे लिए तो बहुत मैं conscious हो गया हूँ बड़े-बड़े लोगों के बीच में क्या बोलूँ मैं, because they are already so expert in this whole field. So, nonetheless, I'd like to share. Earlier, I also had made some, PPT, but then I'm deciding not to share the PPT, but talking like this. Because, there should be power in the point rather than the PowerPoint. So that also has been told once by Raman Saab in one of the presentation. So I'm going to follow that. So ABC has been an old, very, very old story. 86 onwards, it has been trying to redefine that how the costing has to be done. And we also have understood that the traditional way of costing, which was mainly the volume-based drivers, what are the limitations? And am I audible, sirs? Manoj Saab?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, surely.
Yes.
So, is it possible if you want to take response from the people, can they participate in the chat or something so that we can see that how people can respond to it? Is it
yes, they can write their comments in the chat box.
Okay, and which can be visible to us, right?
We can take question and answers from there if required.
So people can also unmute themselves and can have discussion also, right? Is it
they
possible?
Can have, but after your initial remarks.
Initial comments. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Because I thought since we all are professionals, चाहे वो पवन जी हैं, रूबी जी हैं, सब लोग हैं, they all are already experts, so we can have a straight away discussion in a focused way. So let me just give some of the initial comments and then we can have discussion in a more focused way. See, we all know that one is, of course, the need for costing and knowing the right cost, because on the basis of the right cost, we all can take the right decisions. And of course, the consumer value plays a very important role in deciding about the price. Competition also plays an important role, that what you can do and what you can sell. And there has been many techniques, including the traditional costing, the tear down analysis, and then deciding about the right cost. And after that, the use of the standard costing to maintain that how we can have that cost again and again, so that there is consistency in the whole system. And also the costing profession also has seen how the entire focus has been shifting from A to B and B to C and like that. Now, currently, I also teach in many parts of the world. And recently when I went to the US, that was in early 2020, then I saw that there is a great demand for management accountants, even more than the CPAs, because the kind of great value addition and the kind of role in the decision making and creating the right, what I can say, the right kind of the strategic inputs they were being provided. So I saw a lot of the changes happening in the decision support systems. I saw that how the companies are using AI, using the accounting bots also, like the initial transactions relating to the transaction cost, service cost, how they are getting, the automated, and how the precise distribution of overhead is taking place. We all know that if in our total cost structure, if the ratio of overhead is more than 40-45%, then naturally we have to find some more advanced way that how we have to divide the overhead, not on the basis of just the volume-based driver. I think we all know volume-based drivers, which include, the direct labor hour, machine hours, and total unitary method, and like that. But that always give us a problem of, some sort of a ad hoc way of distributing the overheads. And our traditional role has been that, somehow we have to manage and reconcile the cost. There is some disturbance. Okay. So reconcile the cost was naturally. Nandasna, can you please put it on mute, please? CMA BS Nandaji. Yeah, thank you. So one was, of course, that how we can think about reconciling the cost. And, so that you can, I will spend, so much of money, and this money is reconciled. And so that's it. Hello? Okay. But later on, we have all seen that it is not about just the reconciliation. We have to find out which products we are making money, which product we are losing money, and what are the further actions to be taken on the basis of the costing information. So when the ABC was started, the whole idea was, to tell us how much does it cost, whether we talk about the process or a product or a service, how much does it cost? And then out of the entire cost expenditure, we were dividing it into the cost pools. And when we talk about the cost pools, then the activity centers, what comes to your mind? Like if you talk about a manufacturing setup, so when we talk about the basic cost pool and you apply the 80-20 rule, that what are the 20% of the cost which is creating 80% impact. So what are some of those cost items which you want to control? If I can get some input from you, that in the current time, and we talk about the manufacturing industry, can we have some items which are matter of concern to you?
Sir,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. So we have CMA Manoj Kulsheshtra, sir. He's a practicing cost accountant and very senior member of the institute. He's been practicing since a very, very long time. I would again say that I wasn't even born when. He's practicing from a very long time. I would like to know from him which are the industries in which this type of costing you were explaining earlier, we can practice as practitioners. What are the types of industries we can venture into, or we can have our benchmarking?
Okay, thank you, Ruby. It's my pleasure to be with you, Pankajji, and all dignitaries here. See, such a wonderful profession in which we all are. And the way that we work, it always needs a lot of, urge to work, a lot of feelings to work, that what this profession is. Industry, if you refer Michael Porter is talking about strategic competitiveness, either cost-based or market-based. So what I feel, that cost-based strategies are more and more focused, and in India, we don't have that kind of attitude of industry to have an awareness of costing systems. And utilization of those costing systems, Ruby, as you asked me, that to which industry, see, if I just refer one by one, there are huge number of industries where we have developed costing system. Initially, if I can refer you from textile, textile is also having a varied categories of industries. I don't know whether this profession is theoretically not that way too much defined, but practically when you enter, it will define a lot of things. How textile is from fiber to yarn to dyeing, coloring, coloring to, gray yarn to coloring, then fabrication. From fabrication to furnishing fabrics, auto fabrics, woolen fabrics, blankets, and so on. So many industries are there in that category. So if you just enter in any one industry, you will find there are huge number of industries within that industry itself. Then I went to edible oil industry. Edible oil, if you see, there is a refinery. Normally we refer
So,
it.
Manojji, if you don't mind, can we
Sir.
have a conversation on this? Because
Yes, sir.
right now the command was given to me. I thought, let me do my work and then we can have
Sure,
a
sir,
discussion
sure.
on that. So, if it is okay with you.
Yes,
So,
basically the program also runs like this. Initial remarks by Pankaj Gupta ji, and then as a panel we will discuss it.
yeah, naturally.
I think she was asking me, so I just intervened.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Otherwise,
So, Manojji, what I was going to
Yes.
request you that
Please.
if we talk about that you were giving example of the textile industry, and also I'd like to say what is the biggest area of concern? If you can throw some light on that, what is the biggest? Suppose we take only the textile industry at the moment. So, if you say that you have to take one action which will generate maybe 70% value at that moment, so what would be that action at your end? What do you think?
Actually, I correlate, Pankaj. I correlate activity-based costing from activity-based management. So
yeah, but that will come later, Manoj Saab, because ABC will only give you the number, but the money will be shown by the ABM. That is a set of the value creating activity you have to do. The repricing of the product, dropping a product, adding a new line, and then you have to say, okay, whether I want to talk about going for forward linkages or backward linkages. The supplier linkages, customer linkages, and that all are part of the value chain analysis
Value
that
chain.
we all know. And the Porter also you mentioned, thank you for that, because we talk about three strategies. One is a cost leadership, then you
Yes.
talk about differentiation strategy, and then you talk about the focus. So cost leadership, again, based on my work in consulting I did in Maruti many years back. So I want to share one example from there, and that was the time when they were phasing out 800 model, and they were trying to invest in the Alto model at that moment. And they say that okay, Nano was on the way, so they were saying okay, what to do. And then Mahindra ji was used to head the costing at that moment, and Siddiqui ji and a lot of people. We were having a lot of cost discussion meeting at that moment. So there were a lot of discussion happening as to how to save money because of the competition. So we said, okay, there was some, A grade plastic. They said, oh, let's do a A- grade. There was some grade they have identified. In certain level, they went up to the B grade thing, and so on. So internal plastic and other thing, wherever we could have saved money, we tried to do that. And of course, there are element of cost saving and cost cutting, and where you are saving money, but also you are diluting the quality. But again, when you talk about diluting the quality is again of two types. One is that which customer will notice, and second, the customer will not notice. And of course, so long customer is not able to notice, this company hardly bother. Even in the disclosure requirement also, you do not do it. In advanced countries now, those kind of disclosure practices have also come into the picture. And if you look at the ESG guidelines, environment, sustainability, ecology, water, these are norms now very much strongly implemented in the European countries now, and also in the US. And I'm sure sooner or later, these will also come to India as well. So we were saving money like this, diluting the internal hinges and like that. And then the Japanese fellow also gave example that, why we are giving the same stepney. The four wheels are given and one stepney is given. So we were giving the same thing to them. So he said, in Japan, in Japanese, the budget cars, what we do, we provide a lower version of stepney tire, which can run hardly say 5,000 kilometers. So because that you have to just take it from one gas station to another gas station so that you can get it repaired. But then we put our foot down. We said, you don't know the Indian consumer. The stepney tire, once it is there, so it will keep running till it becomes the puncture. So somehow keeping in view the need of the situation, you give some concession and use some concession you take that way. But of course, if you are a BMW or if you are a Mercedes, you will never take such actions, because the focus will be on creating more value, adding more features, and customer is also willing to pay. So our costing strategy, even if you get insight from the ABC, that in the ABC is giving you certain indications that even this product is actually loss making, still you may not drop it, because there may be a certain set of the consumer who are there, who are loyal customer for you, and to whom you are also selling, doing some sort of a cross selling you are doing, and those products are making money for you. And maybe sometime when you go for introductory model, so initially also you suffer loss and you make a planning that what kind of the break-even point you're looking at, and so on. So my focus is not on the providing the numbers, as Manoj ji was also sharing the same thing, but focus more on the ABM, and also after ABM it is more of an integrated management. And in India, there was some problem that people were saying that ABC, you have to change the costing system, you have to do this and that. And of course, that was true at that moment. But nowadays, you look at the SAP, you look at most of the ERP. Now the ABC modules are very much integrated. They are a part of the system now. So just at the click of a button, you can find it out. But based on my consulting experience, I have seen that the integration is not happening. Still, we are maintaining two kind of accounts at times. One for the costing record purpose, another is for decision making purpose, and third, you're doing something to integrate with the financial accounting. So that is where the problem is there. So I remember my guide, Professor Kashi Ramanathan, we were discussing about creating a parsimonious model of management, and which is very a sleeker version of ABC and ABM, by which even a small scale industry or somebody who want to implement in only in few domains, they can do it pretty well. So these are some thought I thought to share. And also whenever we talk about implementing the ABC, it is more about ABM. And also as a management accountant, our idea, if we say that we are going to have this costing or those kind of surprises coming out, they may not give us great value, because the bigger problem you solve, the bigger kind of money you can generate for your client as well as for your own self. And when Sankalp ji contacted me and we were discussing about it, we were just talking about the same issue, that sometimes we have this the mindset that okay, beat this profession, we want to be there, but that is not needed. We have our own niche, we have our own power, but that power we have to believe in ourselves. And there are so many new areas coming up which can be harnessed, and with the application of not only just the ABC, but also there are other technique to be used, such as the blockchain method we have to use when you talk about whether the supply chain method is correct or not. When you think I use this technique, I was part of the group in the Ayushman Bharat. There was some frauds happening over there. So at that moment, I was a president of a university, IIHMR, that was the premier healthcare university. We had shared that model, that how you can find it out, that how these frauds are happening, how you can manage that. And many, many things can be shared, where the use of ABC can really transform the results. But sometimes what happens in a over enthusiasm, what we do when we apply the activity-based costing, there are focus on too many activities. But we have to always keep in mind that we have to focus not more than 7 or 8 activities, or sometimes top three, what I was sharing with you, that what are the three things you want to control, and then observe carefully, and then what will happen, those three are managed well, then you make a focus on the next three, and in this way it become a good thing. And also another thing which I noticed from my consulting experience, that how and what kind of feedback you give to your people, because once you apply ABC and ABM in any organization, you will definitely see that a lot of cupboard, this skeletons will come out of the cupboard. Oh, you are not doing this, you are not aware about doing this, you have created so much loss to the organization. That kind of feedback we have to avoid. We have to rather be very generous to them. Okay, we got it, now how we have to solve this problem. And also it has to be more of a collective approach, and that helps a lot in focusing on the bigger objectives in mind. And so Manoj, you want to add something on these points, please?
Yeah, Pankaji, you are really talking in terms of the philosophy of the ABC. You see, the environment, normally there is a question that comes in my mind is always that what is how we optimize value addition and the cost optimization.
Right.
Because normally what happens that many companies, like if you refer Nestle, is spending huge amount, Ponds is spending huge amount on brand creation.
Mhm.
But if you refer to this cost of a lipstick, a cosmetic item,
Mhm.
its cost is simply 4, 5, 6 rupees or maximum 8 rupees.
Mhm.
But due to branding, etc., that goes up to that level, which is not affordable to general public in India. So what I normally term that value and cost, whether we are intention is to cost optimization or the value creation. So basically the activities which are undertaken in the industry
Mhm.
must be taken in such a way that it should be catering to the need of the particular class of customers. So
Definitely.
if you don't define customers, then you cannot create value, you cannot define activities, as well as you cannot determine the cost. So activity based costing basically focuses on, normally we refer target costing. Target cost is also what cost that customer, how much they can afford. Like Tata's Nano, the example that you have taken, Tata has targeted a cost of 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupee car. So the purpose was that how he will meet out that cost. He has defined all the activities of plant and all activities in such a way that supplies, labor, facility management, everything was defined, and then the cost determination was done.
No,
So
no, I understood. Yeah.
so normally the value and cost optimization, these two things are, I think, very, very important while defining the activity based costing system.
Very sure. Thank you. Thank you.
There is one query which I'd like to
Yeah,
ask Pankaj.
please.
So basically, about activity-based
Madhav
costing.
Namaskar, sir.
In activity-based costing, do you feel that the Indian industry is now compliant with it? Because the companies we visit, basically, to be honest, somehow, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong. It might be that India is so cost competitive that many times they themselves don't have a very elaborate system of activity based costing if I compare it with the developed economies. I don't know if I'm reading it right or wrong about my this observation. Generally I feel that Indian companies are doing their costing, they have their costing system at a very basic level and not at a very detailed activity wise level.
Yeah. So Sankalp ji, I will agree with your statement, because the kind of client I have, the high MNC and Fortune 500 clients also, and also medium and small scale industries also I have. So I have seen that, unless there is a obvious need, and also sometimes the need is also to be created. So that is somehow not happening. So people feel that whatever is happening, होता ना चलता है ये तो हो रहा है, this anyway happening. But the kind of somebody has to educate the real decision maker. One is a real decision maker. Second is the opinion makers. So when we go and make a presentation to any company for getting a consulting assignment, we need to be very well prepared. Like studying their pain points in a very detailed manner. What exactly this company is going through, what has been their record, like, the way you try to invest in any company's shares, even much more than that, it has to be done. And what industry is doing, what globally it is doing, and then already identifying that what kind of possibilities you can create for that organization. And then if you go with that mindset and also having a 1-year mindset in mind, that within 1 year, these are the key deliverables, this is the how I'm going to generate value, then they will be too happy to give you the assignment. Otherwise, what happens, the such kind of opinion leaders are not there. They'll say, okay, chal to raha hai. And sometimes the finance department is mainly led by the chartered accountant, and sometimes by some other professionals. And one more post is nowadays is advisor finance. And that advisor finance sometimes is the same person who was in the company, the former CFO. And after retirement, they are still maintaining as an advisor kind of a role. And that person is very powerful. If you're able to convince that person, he will tell to the owner, oh, this is a good value proposition. And in my initial days when I used to take consulting, I was not charging any money. I was saying, I will generate money for you. And out of that, I will charge you 15%, whatever money I save for you. In one company, I implemented the cost of quality system. So they were not aware that there is so much of hidden cost of quality, which came out to be 35%. And the company earlier believed that whatever money I spend in the quality control department, I think 4%, that was the cost of quality. In the same way, we have done some work on transforming some hospitals, some educational institution. Even in the Corona time, I was happy to do consulting work with the University of Melbourne in Australia. So who were facing problem with sort of the risk mitigation strategy, because China was sending so many students and they stopped sending. So how to do that, and how you can attract people from India and like that. So as a management accountant, we have to really step into the shoes of the decision maker and maybe sometime to, to open their mindset in a total way, rather than thinking, what this person will feel. One is, of course, we can get somebody will say that, okay, it is required as per the law. But the law, then you also cannot get big money. As Manoj was sharing about the giving example of lipstick. So it is not at all how much it costs, and you can sell it only around that. You can sell anything. You look at the Prada or Burberry and all these, the brands. So there is now big segment of the luxury, and we have to also position ourselves as a brand. And for that branding, we have to firstly believe in ourselves. And with our very detailed, preparation, as Manoj was sharing that I'm, jumping here and there. But sir, the real thing is that I cannot do the similar job over a period of time. I do not believe, like 1 year experience repeated 30 times, because I've got this human life. I have to do justice with that. So in that way, sometime I plant a seed, it will become like a very good tree and start giving the fruit. And that is the time I will leave. I will go somewhere else. फिर वो नया कुआं खोदूंगा, all that thing. तो उससे क्या होता है सर, मनोज सर, that alive रहते हैं, मतलब पूरा कि मतलब अपनी जो employability है उसमें जंग भी नहीं लगता है, that give a new excitement. And in this way also, if you do one job really well, it create advocates for you, not only the customer, because customer will be somehow happy, unhappy. But when your customer turns into your advocate, then it becomes very good stuff. So Wadhwa sir, Sankalp ji, I'd like to say that your observation is very correct. लेकिन मैं उसमें एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल दूंगा सर, वो ये है कि एक बार बाटा कंपनी ने अपने कुछ सेल्समैन को भेजा, sometime they sent to prospect in Africa. So one person went and said, sir, there is no scope of selling shoes here because nobody wear the shoes. And the other salesman said, sir, there is a huge scope for sale over here because nobody wear the shoes here. We can sell shoe to everyone. In the same way, costing transformation is also going to be a very big thing, sir. Linking with the financial reporting system, linking with the decision support system, linking with the external reporting system, and also advising the management how to think big. If you're in this kind of a model, why do we need a consultant like McKinsey or PNG and ENY and KPMG? Why can't the management accountant play that kind of a role? Now you are in this orbit. Now it is a time to change your orbit. In one university where I was a president, they had hired one top 4 consultant. They had created a big, huge report they had created. And they had charged 2 crores for that. And that report was lying dust. I did not look at that report. I created a model, created a perspective plan for 5 years, and said, I had a board meeting. I said, tell me 3 priorities. And those 3 priorities, I created the KRA, KPI, milestones, and an execution plan, and did that. And that top 4 person was also part of the board. He said, some of these ideas we had submitted in our report. I had no idea because I did not see that report. So it is all about, what bigger picture you create and how you execute it well. So I see, Sankalpji, there's a big scope over here in this area.
Also, sir, I would like to say that during our previous discussion on this topic, you pointed out that there is more scope in indirect cost, that is overheads, for activity-based costing.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that point?
Sure. Because direct costing, as such, the tracing is taking place well, and most of our current systems are doing a very good job over here. Nowadays, I'm not talking about the current Corona time, but just prior to that, we were adding on a lot of, the joint cost allocation problem over there. And with that joint cost allocation, there were shared resources, and also sometime, hiring highly qualified people, creating, separate kind of quality mechanism. And they were distributed mainly on some volume-based driver. And that was creating a big problem. Say, for example, if the complexity is more, even if the volume is less, but if the complexity is more, it will consume more resources. And one of the famous example I give of this luxury pen company, which were maintaining, different kind of pens they were making, and there was a pen red and purple, and which was requiring complete flushing out of the plant and different kind of setup they were requiring. So though they were charging premium on that, almost like 20% premium they were charging, and they were thinking, since I'm charging premium, these products are more profitable to us. But they were not, because they were consuming much more resources. The indirect cost was consumed so much by them because they were consuming more of the value creating activity. So this is really a problem, that indirect cost. And one way to watch out is that if the indirect cost portion as a part of the total cost structure, if it is more than 40%, then we have to be very careful. And we have also to support our analysis by VA and VA analysis also. There is a value adding activity, and how much cost is there, and what are the non-value adding activity. Because the sum of the non-value adding activity will anyway remain. We cannot cut totally, because something may look like a non-value adding activity, but actually they are not. If you go to the outsourcing industry, I have been part of discussion and part of the advisory with the Genpact also, who have a huge outsourcing model. So their security is so much. So initially I thought it is a wastage of money, but later I realized that if they do not invest that much in security, it can be a huge consequence over there. And in that company also, I want to give one more example. They were also doing work with the, the transcription of the medical records and the claim settlement. That was another process from the US, which they were handling at that moment. So what happened, they had this idea of, the green belt project and black belt projects. They were like, how you cut down on that and how you take it further. So somebody gave an idea that, and the process was that you get idea from detail from the US, then you take a printout and you do calculations manually, and then you upload on that, the system, and then it is transmitted to the US. So somebody said, why we are taking printout? I think we can just, do it on the system. So they said, yeah, great idea. And they implemented it without consulting with the team members. And most of the agents were girls, and they were having some problem in calculation. Once you are having a printout, they can do it pretty well. So they felt problem, and the proper training was also not given. So they were facing stress over there. And then the rate of accuracy went below than what was really expected. So the entire process was taken back. So we have to be very clear that how much is that percentage which you want to save. In some organizations say that अरे भाई यहाँ तो चाय कॉफी बहुत पी रहे हैं, stationery use हो रहा है. But question is that how much is the total impact? Maybe if you're giving liberty to your people to have as much of tea and coffee or using this stationery, that is not a big deal. Let them enjoy. And I see in some of the organizations which are like purely family-owned organizations, उसमें क्या है वो, they have some rough calculation. कि अरे भाई ये बंदा जो है, I pay him 5 lakh, and suppose this guy does some hanky-panky of maybe 1 lakh more. Then they will analyze, अरे भाई ये बंदा 6 लाख में ठीक है कि नहीं, 5 लाख तो दे रहे हैं, अब 5 लाख ये इधर-उधर करता है, 1 lakh. So 6 lakh, is he comfortable? It's fine. So they will close their eyes in that regard. So we also have to be little smarter in that way. And we should be the first one to tell the owner, कि भाई ये गड़बड़ हो रहा है. So then they will trust you even more. कि अरे भाई ये बंदा हमें बता रहा है, लेकिन साथ में ये भी कह रहा है कि अरे सर इसको चलने दो. Because you are thinking about the overall, benefit of the organization. So these are something I just thought to add to the discussion over here.
I think adding to what you've said, and we've discussed this previously as well, that once we were discussing about value adding and non-value adding activity, and you pointed out that even if someone is traveling through business class, depending on his stature, it could be a value adding activity as well.
Exactly. बिल्कुल बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि सर ऐसा ना, यू नेवर नो, अगर आप छोटा सोचोगे ना तो छोटा ही चीज मिलेगा. जैसे बिजनेस क्लास, आई हैव मेट सम वेरी ग्रेट पीपल, and sometimes if my company does not pay, I pay myself and I take it as an investment. अभी ये समय, yesterday and day before yesterday, I was in Bangalore because one of my friend who's running an edutech company, he wanted some money, and some of my former student came from US to India, so I helped them raising $5 million. So I believe that sometime we need not to be having calculation कि भाई इसका मैं कर रहा हूँ, मेरे को भी क्या मिलेगा. But still, if you have connection and you can add value in any transaction, let's do that. Because whatever is due to us will anyway flow to us. So that is what I just thought to add over here.
Like we are trying to value add in today's session by having your keen insights.
But in sir, I'm nobody, sir.
No, sir. So basically, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong, but is activity-based costing more of quantifying services? Like the discussion which we had is basically the tangible portion we can always cost. But when I talk about activities, it is basically an intangible part. The activities which are doing, and activities is more linked to the services that the resources are providing. So is it basically we are trying to mingle the services, we are trying to mingle the computation of cost or quantifying the services? Is it something like that?
Sir, I would like to mention on this point here that one is that I have resources, I have this material, I have this labor, I have this, other overheads, and that is how I distribute directly, either the absorption basis or on, some other model. I do that. Second is that I do not bother about, those resources. I will see that what are the value creating activity, what are the, the different resources are consumed by the activity, and these resources and activity, how they are linked through a cost driver. Because I've been sharing about this, that that in the earlier time there used to be some daemon, and the daemon's life used to live in some small bird somewhere. So some mythological stories, and when you control that bird or kill that bird, then that daemon was killed. In the same way, firstly, it is very important to know that those resources are consumed by those activity. And with those activity, how they're moving through some cost driver. Say, for example, the processing activity. So it is, the number of, the setup hours or setup time, that is a driver. Or if you talk about the packaging activity, the number of, deliveries made, or number of, the customer response. So in this way, it will have everything. It will have some material also, some labor also. So all those items which are distributing differently, they will be now distributed through those activities. So we have to find out that how many activities are there which I am going to control. And maybe if I am able to control up to 80% of that cost, I think it should be good enough. At 20%, you can still go for absorption costing. And with that, those resources which are being consumed, they will be added over there. So like material, ABC activity, and then finally the unallocated pool. Labor, direct labor like this distributed, indirect labor this way distributed, and that is how the total is gone. And then those activities are linked to the drivers and the production through the cost driver. So if you control the cost driver better than your competitors, then you are in business. Say, for example, if you are really bothered about how to manage my delivery cost, then you have to focus on how I can have lesser number of deliveries requirement. Suppose I'm going to have 12,000 units in a year, which is being paid to me 1,000 every month. So I can say that instead of 1,000 every month, can we take 2,000 every 2 months? So my cost of ordering is gone down from 12 to 6. So I'm going to save money on that. But then I have to do calculation. Oh, if I have more inventory, so what is my storage cost? What is my obsolescence cost? So that again, we have to do calculation. And with the decision-making support system, which are now part of all the ERP systems, we can do a quick, the what-if analysis. It is a very common technique we do that. What will happen if this happen? If I change this variable to this level, what is going to happen on my overall cost? What is going to be impact on my risk sensitivity, and so on. तो उसमें ये सर intangible तो नहीं है. It is not intangible, but the way of distributing is like this, that we take those cost items flowing through certain activity and through the drivers. So maybe next kabhi jo hoga, so I can create a complete model, maybe giving a small case study also, because today time was less. So I thought, let it be like a more of a ice breaking session, and then we can also take help from this. Raman sir hai, Manoj ji hai. We all can even jointly create a program and take advantage of all the great people who are in this profession.
Pankaj ji, can I ask one question related to this? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, you said that cost drivers are associated with those activities. My just query is that from say gate number 1 to gate number 2, some material is being transported by a material handling equipment. So that activity you will do the costing by adding raw material as well as the material handling equipment service, or what will be the exact costing in this particular activity?
Okay, sir. In this case, what will happen that you will find out that if it is the material handling thing, and so long the material reaches the the required location, all the cost is anyway added in the cost of the raw material. But I will go one step further to that. How can I avoid this cost? Can I have a agreement with my supplier and creating a Kanban system, and what was done by the Walmart people, what they did, because Walmart ka motto hai, the everyday low price. So when Sam Watson used to go to different sourcing people, including in China, they used to say that I do not want so many models. I just want a black model and a white model and a gray model. do not send me people with your different kind of sales offers, because I know it is all a sham and I'm not interested in that. Do not send your people to know, sir, how much supply you need, because I know my requirement, and I'm connecting my the distribution terminal with your factory, so that you can see कि मुझे क्या चाहिए and what is requirement. Accordingly, you replenish that. So what happened? You use technology, you have used the collective bargaining power. So question is that there are some people who may need those services. तो आप उनसे charge करो. But I'm not only working on my cost, I'm working on your cost also. That was the whole idea. There is some customer who may be lazy and who will not know how much they want. So unko theek hai, unko you add that thing in their cost structure and they'll be willing to pay you. But I am a more aware customer. So मैं आपको केवल basic processing fee, I'll give you a basic material thing and some part of the labor. And if you're willing to give, then it's fine. So applying that model, if it is a normal, if it is an innovative company, they can say that, you have to deliver it at my location where my item is stored. And any expenditure is there from a gate number A to gate number 2 will be taken by you. So in that way, it is also very much possible, sir. Otherwise, generally, it will be added in the cost of raw material. Like the way the cost of quality, if you are going for a person who is giving you material A with 100 rupees kg, and there is another material person who is willing to give you 80 rupees kg. But 100 rupees material is like a approved vendor. And the approved vendor means quality check is there. And same thing you can get from vendor B at 80 rupees, but you are not buying. So that 20 rupees extra, हम अभी क्या करते हैं? What we do now, we add in the cost of material. कि 100 rupees का जी खरीदने approved vendor है, that's it. But that 20 extra which I'm paying, which is 80 and 100, उसका जो difference है, it is actually the cost of quality. It is the hidden cost of quality. हमारा जो raw material में booking होना चाहिए, that should be only 80 rupees. तो इस तरह से कई जगह ना वही, that is the reason we have undercosting and overcosting that way. And I think now time is running short. So I'd like to say that there's a huge scope of our fraternity in the area of risk management, perspective planning, healthcare, education sector. तो हम लोग के पास बहुत कुछ है. जैसे हम लोग कह रहे थे, what is next? So I was thinking I'll create a slide and where I'll not write anything. I'll just keep a blank slide. So it is actually like that. You can create anything you want. One is that ये क्रॉस लग गया, वो ये CA ले गया, वो CFA हो गया, ये IM का MBA ले गया. अरे भाई, we can create whatever we want. So I would also request Sankalp ji if we can also have a session on personal branding of CMAs and also how to approach high value clients and how to deliver great value over there, and so that we create our own mark. Not only in the Indian scene, but in the global scene. Let me tell you, sir, there is a huge demand of CMAs, even in the east side, East Asian countries. Dubai mein to tha hi pehle se, and maybe some other time we can have discussion on hospital and healthcare, education sector, use of the blockchain and AI, how it can be linked with the activity-based costing. So maybe we will like to take it forward. And I want to thank again Sankalp ji, Manoj sir. Really, it is so great to be here, and really appreciate it. Raman sir bhi ruke rahe for such a time, and I have great regard for him. Manoj Kulsheshtra ji, Ruby ji, सभी लोगों को बहुत नमस्कार. Thank you so much.
I am very thankful to you for this session, and you have given us very keen insights. And I am thankful to the panelists also, Manoj Kulsheshtra ji, MK Anand ji. But I think before closing the session, it would be very important for us to hear some views on CMA A N Raman ji, because A N Raman ji has been listening to the program for around an hour, patiently listening, and all of us know that he is an authority on management accounting. And if he can, we will be very grateful and obliged if he can give some views on the topic itself or on the session as well. And it will give us a very good value addition in today's program.
Thank you, Sankalp. It was so nice to meet all of you. I came purely once I saw the name of Pankaj, because Pankaj is a very long-term friend of mine, and I knew his interest and his research subject on this. So I wanted to update myself as to what is happening on this, and purely I came as a student. I didn't expect to be called. But nevertheless, having been asked to just speak a moment, I say I can really say that I enjoyed the session very much. It has been done very nicely. Except that, just only one parenthetical note I can add. Never look at ABC as an overhead distribution exercise. The moment you start it as a costing exercise and introduce it as an improved cost accounting methodology, you have lost the battle in the beginning itself. So look at it as a part of excellence in strategy execution, and the starting point is strategy. And that way, both two Manoj Anandji as well as Manoj Kulsheshtra, along with Pankaj, they have positioned the subject very well. Structure it very nicely. When I speak of operational ABC, then I speak of examples. What my friend Prakash said. What is the cost of a transportation truck or a equipment handling device from the gate to that, and how do I understand that? Can I eliminate it totally by delivering online straight and eliminating quality control steps and all that? That is an operational way of looking at ABC. There are a lot of competition for looking at operational way of ABC, because Kaizen Dunia would come and compete with you. TQM Dunia would say, no, that is not meant for costing. It is more about TQM. BPR log will come and say, we do that only. So operational ABC has got a lot of competitors, but we need to be very clear in our mind. But what is very important is positioning activity-based costing as a strategy execution excellence exercise today, whether it is cost leadership journey or whether it is a differentiation journey or a focused competition strategy. In all these three segments, activity-based costing has a very major role. So position ABC as a tool in implementing strategy effectively. Speak that language. Never speak the language of overhead allocation or cost allocation. To support an strategy execution, how do I look at numbers and how do I take decisions? If you start from, you means if we the CMA start from that angle, the battle is really won. I saw in the list my good friend Manoj Sethi, who was the head of finance from Subros, and we did in Noida. We really started the game that way. So you connect ABC with the implementation of the strategy of an organization, then you win the battle. That's all I wanted to say as a parenthetical note.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sankalp.
Thank you, sir. I think these views have further enriched our discussion today. That we have to take a step forward towards strategizing the ABC.
Yeah.
And with this note, with a very good sum up by you, I would like CMA Pankaj Dixit ji, who is the Vice Chairman of the Noida Chapter, to give a formal vote of thanks for today's session.
Thank you, Sankalp sir. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Speaker, Shri Pankaj Gupta sir, Shri Manoj Kulsheshtra sir, and respected all senior members and all the participants. It much as an honor for me to get an opportunity to thank you all dignitaries. On the behalf of Noida Chapter,
Ananda,
I extend a warm welcome to the people. To the people in the gathering, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for this presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. And I extend my gratitude to our honorable speaker, Shri Manoj Gupta sir and Manoj Kulsheshtra sir. Pankaj Gupta sir and Manoj Kulsheshtra sir, to take out a time, his busy schedule, to grace the event. And thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words on a special day. And a special thanks, Shri MK Anand sir, for providing eminent support to make the webinar to the successful. I extend my gratitude Ms. Ruby Mishra, Chairperson of Noida Chapter, and Sankalp Wadhwa ji, organized webinar. And thanks to respected Raman sir CMA Harkesh Tara sir, and Ravi Sahani sir, former chairman of NIRC, to join the program. Thank you everyone for once again for making it great success. सर एक्चुअली एक अनाउंसमेंट और हमारी तरफ से है, हमारा एक प्रोग्राम 5 तारीख को हम और करने वाले हैं सर। ये फिजिकल प्रोग्राम है और इसमें हमारे यहाँ प्रेसिडेंट सर, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट सर भी आ रहे हैं और मे बी ये पॉसिबिलिटी है कि हम इसमें यहाँ के एमपी को भी शायद अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कि वो भी आए। हमने ऑनलाइन बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम कर लिए, कोशिश है कि इस बार एक ऑफलाइन प्रोग्राम करें और आप सभी लोगों के दर्शन हमें फिजिकली हो। एमके आनंद सर, प्लीज सर, आपने वापस अब आना है।
डेफिनेटली पवन जी, डेफिनेटली वी ऑल विल बी देयर बेसिकली। अगर आप मुझे 1 मिनट का मौका दें बस सिर्फ, इफ यू काइंडली परमिट मी फॉर 1 सिंगल मिनट। मैं शुरू में आई वाज रिमेम्बरिंग आवर ग्रेट रामन सर because we have been associated him for very long, and I was not aware that he is present in this August gathering. So pardon my mistake, Ramanji, and my great friend Taraji is there, and Sani Saab is also there. I actually didn't see the list basically. Definitely, today's program has been very well conducted by our Sankalp ji, and very elucidate thoughts have been provided by Pankaj Gupta ji and Manoj Kulsheshtra ji. I am hoping that we will be there on 5th. All of the people who have been present here. Raman Saab, once again, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. I think we will end the session for today.
Thank you so much. Truly appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sparing time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.